right, now watch this turn. Indicator left, down the slope. What a shot. What a shot. Is it? Oh, would you believe that? Rory McIlroy. What a round of golf. It's one outside the Augusta course record.
This is way more aggressive than I anticipated. Oh, man! What a shot! I'd say that's pretty good. Whoa!
Hello and welcome to the PFD show, Pato. Here we are this week talking about the American Express and everything DFS. Tonight it's just a two-ball of myself and Jack. How are you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you, Mark. How are you?
Ask you the question as you take a drink.
Yeah. How are you anyway? That's the main.
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. We're missing Nicholas of Wigan because he's Nicholas watching Wigan tonight, I think. In the freezing cold.
I actually think he's not turned up because he's doing so bad in the host DK league. So that's the reason why I think he hasn't turned up.
Yeah. We better let him win, Jack, then, hadn't we? So that he'll turn up next week.
Well, that's probably what he's hoping for. Like, if he doesn't show up this week, give away his picks and things like that, then he gets a win under his belt, and then he'll come back next week, come crawling back at the Farmers.
Well, as you brought it up, we might as well just quickly mention this. Not to spend too much time on it. It was a win for me, quite a convincing victory. As the old phrase goes, you guys took one hell of a beating, and partly thanks to yourself, Jack, really, because you got me onto Siwoo Kim last week, and he was in there. So it was a very good week for this predictions.
Yeah, you absolutely smashed it. My core play let me down. My top guy, Mr. Tom Kim, let me down in our listener league and across the board really. Thankfully, my cash lineup had a 5 or 6. Again, it had Tom Kim in it, but my cash lineup had a 5 or a 6. And when I say cash lineups, basically I always play like 5 double up contests, so I can kind of hope to get my money back. That's the theory behind it. I just like if they cash, then I get all my outlay back on the week. So and they did, thankfully. So I didn't lose any money. So it's just but even with a 5 or 6 with Mr. Tom Kim, but he was a letdown. Spoiler alert, I'm probably going to go back again this week.
Yeah, he's there was a few, wasn't it? Him. So you picked Siwoo, but in your all Korean team, I think 2 of them missed the cut out of your 4. So obviously the top 2 are the 2 most popular players on DraftKings. Tom Kim and Sung Jae-in both missed the cut. And Jordan Spieth, who I think was the 3rd highest owned, he missed it as well after leading after the first round.
That was impressive. Yeah, that's so Jordan Spieth as well. That is so. That's what he's like. Like you say, you go to my Korean lineup there. Obviously, Kim and him missed the cut. Siwoo, I had a sprinkling of Siwoo in. He was actually in my cash lineup, which is probably why I got the double up because I'd Siwoo in that. Who else? KH Lee was there. I think he was pretty disappointing over the weekend. KH Lee, I'm pretty sure he shot a 3 over in the last round or something. And then I also had the value punt, didn't I? Down right at the bottom, Mr. Benny Ann, who's back this week as well. Who actually like this week. I haven't put it out there, but I might have a little sneaky. You can get odds on him at 175 to 1 for this week. So I might just a couple of quid each way on him this week.
I've seen a couple of people pick him as well. So I think the price is going to come down before Thursday. So if people get on him. But it was we got a lot of stuff right last week, I think, on the show as a whole. Obviously, you saying about Siwoo picking the winner, that's pretty handy. I talked about Taylor Montgomery quite a bit. He's like the safest player in the pool at the moment. He tailed off a little bit. He cost me a little bit of money on Saturday and Sunday with the way he tailed off. But he just makes cuts, doesn't he?
I mean, he's become like he's kind of like Denny McCarthy from last year with the putting. He's just elite with putting. He's just a clutch putter, and while he's hot like that, you have to ride him. And it's the same thing. Like people might come at me. No one has come at me, but people might come at me if they go back and read the article about Tom Kim last week. I would do the same play every week. I played the hottest player on form, and sometimes eventually it's going to come crashing down. It'll come crashing down for Taylor Montgomery one week. It could happen this week. No one knows, but when they're playing hot like that, you just ride them. Even at the ownership, I think you just ride the players like that. And I again, if I went back to last week, I'd do the same thing again. And I would, I just don't regret it. But yeah, Sony Open. I'm glad the Hawaii swing sort of come to an end. It's not a tournament that I can get right at the minute. The Sony Open. It was one of the ones that sort of let me down last year, and it's let me down this year. And well, Mark, I've got sort of 2 years worth of data. Well, going into 2 years worth of data now with models and things like that, and obviously just hoping to refine and review it each year and adjust little things here and there to try and improve on picking players. Obviously there's a bit of luck involved as well, but it's certainly a tournament that I can't get right at the minute. So I will go back. It's back to the drawing board. Sony Open.
You'd have to worry about it for another year. I created 2 models last week. There was the one we talked about last week on the show, which actually did pretty well. Which was definitely profitable, and I also did a sort of a make the cut model, which is a little bit more complex than just people who make the cut. And that did absolutely excellently. That was that's something. Obviously, it won't be that relevant this week because the nature of the contest. But when we get to proper normal course with a 36-hole cut, I think that's going to be something I'll try and expand on and improve. Because 6 through 6. You can't really lose money if you get 6 to 6 out through the cut. I don't think it's possible, and it is obviously as proven by Im Kim and Spieth last week. It's not really that predictable. But yeah, I did pretty well with that, so that's quite encouraging. So yeah, all in all, good start, good couple of weeks, good last season, I think, overall for us. Before we get to this week's though, Jack, unless you got anything else to say about last week. We need to do a couple of plugs, I think.
Yeah, we can. You can do. I was just going to say, just one last thing on last week. I tried something. Obviously, I normally just bet outrights, and then last week, we got that news on Hallshaw that he wasn't feeling really up to that tournament. Blah 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 blah. Misses the cut anyway. So I dipped into the 72-hole player matchups on Bet365. It was Adam Scott versus Billy Hallshaw. So it wasn't great odds. I think it was like 2 to 1 or something like that on Adam Scott. Like I just thought I'd just touch 20 quid on it, double my money, so to speak. And yeah, I did double my money on that. But it's just something I'm going to try and dip into a little bit more each week. I don't know if you can do multiples on them. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to, but I'm going to probably have a little look at them going forward because I think there's some money to be made there with some of the bad matchups that they probably choose.
I dipped my toe into water a little bit of a stats-based one last week, which didn't work out. To Russell Henley missing the cut because he loses strokes to the field 56% of the time, and you were getting 5 to 2 on your money. And the maths on that says to me that you do that bet enough times, you're going to win. Just didn't happen to win last week. So
yeah, it looked good after the first round because I was on it as well. It looked good after the first round. So,
yeah, exactly. It just looked like just the maths just spoke to me, but it didn't work out. But basically, it means next time it will. Anyway, enough of that. I'm not sure I'm going to start giving too many prop bets out, to be honest with you.
No. If you want, I'll do my little plug if you want now.
You can do both your plugs if you want.
Both?
Well, we've got the Listener League as well as your plug.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll do the Listener League first. So we've got the DK Listener League. It's on the PFD Show Twitter handle. Just head over there. You'll find the link for it. It's $3 entry, single entry only. It's up to 20 people that can play in it. Obviously, we'd like to fill it each and every week. That's the goal, kind of thing. The top 3 win prizes. So yeah, it's a nice little league. It's a little single entry. It's a nice way to sort of dip your toes into DraftKings if you've never played DraftKings before as well. We're all in there as well. So yeah, be good fun. If you want to get involved in that, just head over to the PFD Show Twitter handle. And last but not least is the season-long golf fan team tracker that I've created. It's £3.99. We're getting very close to the start now, which is obviously Thursday at the American Express. So if you want to get involved in that, you'll find the current fields and commitments for this year, that players that have committed for each event, etc. The American Express field, for example, is fully committed now, so we know who's playing there. Pebble Beach actually is fully committed, which is a bit weird because it's sort of 2 or 3 weeks out from that. It shows elevated events, live golf players, and if they played the event the year before, etc. And at $3.99, I think it's a bargain, considering you're going to get all the updates through the whole year from me with it. You get invited to a Twitter group, which will let you know when there's updates that I put into it. I'm sure we'll make different changes along the way as we go. If live changes, then I'm probably going to add them golfers in and things like that. But yeah, it's a very, very handy tool if you're playing any sort of season-long golf contest. So yeah, $3.99. Just hit me up on Twitter at Jack Comfrey DFS, and I'll get you involved in it.
It's practically free for the value it offers. I think it's just no brainer. I literally, once again, Jack is going to get bored of me doing this to him, but I told him it's too cheap. I just told him before we came on live on air, you've done it way too cheap. Again, I keep telling him it. I don't know why I keep telling him it, because he can't change it now. So I do apologize, Jack, but every time I see the amount of work that goes in, I see it's that price, I can't get my head around it. Talking to the fan team season-long contest starts on Thursday. Last week in my lineup in fan team, I did enter it into a satellite. The top 4 players won a $50 or €50 entry into the €50 fan team season-long team, and the top 4 won, so I came 5th. So, so that sums it up. I did something similar yesterday with an NHL satellite as well.
Well, you know my NHL experience at the minute is going very well. So.
Yeah, so that's another pod that we'll have to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So I think we've done all the admin, haven't we, Jack? I think so. We can probably start with your course preview.
Well, courses this week, Mark.
Yeah.
We've come to Jack's least favourite time of the year. I do not enjoy these rotation events, even though I have done over the years done quite well at these rotation events for DFS, especially this one for some weird reason. So there are 3 golf courses here. You've got La Quinta. I'll start with the easiest and then I'll go to the hardest of the 3. None of them are hard. They're all pretty easy. The winning score will probably be between 25 under to 30 under. But let's start with the easiest ones, stat-wise. You've got La Quinta Country Club, and they're all in California. The designer of this golf course is called Lawrence Hughes. It's a par 72 at 7,060 yards long. You've got water that comes into play on 7 holes around this place. It's Bermuda throughout, from the fairways to the rough to the greens, even though the greens have been overseeded with POA. So you get that weird sort of mix. It's similar to what the Masters offers, green-wise, like that, complex-wise. But yeah, I mean, I kind of said it in our group chat earlier. This golf course, the first one, the easiest one of the 3, should not be on the PGA Tour. This is the one where John Rahm walked off the course last year, and when it's a effing putting contest. He was not a happy man when he walked off this golf course last year. So I'm very surprised he's back this year for it. But he's a sucker for punishment. Let's say that. And then we go to the middle of the 3. They only play on La Quinta once, by the way. Sorry, and then they play on this one once as well. So this is the Jack Nicklaus Tournament Golf Course. Again in California, designed, shock horror, by Jack Nicklaus. It's a par 72, 7,147 yards long. You've got water that comes into play on 5 of the holes. Again, Bermuda throughout with polar overseed on the greens. Now, what I will say is the similarities between these two golf courses, the first two here. Again, they only play on these once. The hardest sort of holes on these golf courses, they're not hard, but the hardest holes on these golf courses are the par threes. None of the par fours measure over 470 yards long. Shout out to Andy Lack, because I listened to his podcast earlier, and if you've never seen Andy Lack, he does stuff for Rick Run Good, whose stats and things we use for the show. He is like brilliant at like doing course previews and things like that. So if you've never seen anything he does, just follow him on Twitter. But yeah, he was saying like none of these par fours here measure over 470 yards long. So that, I mean, the golfers, the pros are just going to absolutely destroy these golf courses, these first two here. So yeah, the par threes are similar on both of them. They're the hardest holes, and again, feature throughout all three golf courses is the bunkers. There's a lot of bunkers, and sand saves will be crucial with those. Now we come to the golf course that they play twice, and it's the PGA West Stadium golf course. They play this one once on either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, and then obviously the final round will be on this golf course on the Sunday. Again, it's in California. It's a Pete Dye golf designed in 1986. It's a par 72 at 7,150 yards long. You got water that comes into play on 7 holes here. Again, Bermuda throughout with polar overseed on the greens. This also features like a island green similar to TPC Sawgrass, again, which is a Pete Dye design. Anyone that is familiar with Pete Dye golf courses knows that it's just bunkers throughout. There's bunkers galore. So again, sand saves will be crucial this week. Mark, a bit really. I can't really get excited with these 3 golf courses because they're not the best in the world. But yeah, it's going to be, as John Rahm said last week, it's going to be a putting contest. And you just need to be good. Make sure you're good out of the bunkers and good on the par threes.
I was saying this to you a little bit just before we started and stuff. This week, because it's 3 courses and we actually don't have shot tracker data for the courses, I find it very hard to build a statistical model which is going to really be the basis of my player pool this week. What about yourself, Jack? What are you looking for? How you approached it with this sort of this strangeness of 3 courses?
Like I say, we don't have nothing to work with the other 2. But again, I really honestly don't think you have anything to worry about with them. The one thing I sort of looked at with the stadium course was good drive percentage. That sort of comes into play with the previous winners here. So I've got that weighted into my model. Strokes gained approach, as always, it's just, you need to be dialed in with your irons. I've got proximity from 50 to 125, and I've got proximity from 150 to 175. Sand save percentage, I keep mentioning it. It's a Pete Dye design golf course, stadium course. There's bunkers everywhere, and you just need to be able to get out of them and stick it close. I've got strokes gained putting on Bermuda grass greens. I've got birdies are better gained, opportunities gained, strokes gained total on easy scoring conditions, par 5 scoring, because that's you have to be walking off these par 5s with birdies. Like you can't, par's not going to get it done for anyone this week coming off these. And then the comp courses, I've got the 3 golf courses that they're playing on. So I've got PGA West, Nicholas, Tournament, and La Quinta. And then I've also got TPC Sawgrass, which is where the Players' Championship is held. That is a Pete Dye design golf course. And I've got TPC Twin Cities, again, another Pete Dye design golf course.
Wow. So I've got a lot simpler because I've taken the approach. I'm just going to look for general golfers, if you see what I mean. I know you don't say you're always looking for good golfers, but because say 2 of the courses we really have to sort of put a little bit of finger in the air for it. Usual approach and putting in my top 2 on here, driving accuracy, birdie better because you're going to have to score on this course. Sand saves, like you said, course history and some implied win percentage because I'm going to let the bookies do some of the work for me. So a fairly simple model for me this week. But this is Tuesday, and I'll probably do a little bit more just tomorrow, and then I'll just before I put my bets out, see if there's anybody who really pops out. It's good value.
I said to you before we come on, didn't I, as well? I did well DFS wise at this tournament last year. When I say well, I made a few £100. Like it wasn't amazing, but I did well. So I haven't changed my model. I've just kept it exactly the same.
Cool. Why would you break it?
Exactly.
If it don't fix it if anything broke. Okay, shall we start looking at some players and talking about them?
Yes, why not?
Here we go. So what we have here is, if I get them on my screen so I can see them. Yeah, that's it. So we've got basically 5 players in the 10k range: Rahm, Scheffler, Cantlien, Xander. Before I ask you who's your favourite, how are you approaching Xander?
I'm not going near him. I saw him doing some drills today on the range there. Yeah, that's an avoid for me, and I don't care if he's going to come in at low ownership either. I don't trust people with back injuries like that at golf. That is the worst injury as a golfer you can have, is a back injury. So yeah, I can't. I don't care. I'm looking at his ownership now. Actually, Mark, it's 9.5%. I mean, it's low as hell. But if I was sticking in 150 lineups, which I'm not, then maybe a sprinkling of him. But I'm not playing him.
Just a quick question from Sweet Blues: what do you make of the Pro-Am format? Does it affect players? It definitely does affect players, and I'll be bringing it up when I'm talking about certain players. Doesn't it, Jack? There does seem to be some players like traditionally someone like a Jason Day who really enjoys this sort of format. They like the slow nature of it because they play quite slow themselves.
I hate it.
Yeah, but you're not in the DraftKings player pool, so we don't have to worry about that.
No, I hate it. Speaking of, you just mentioned Xander there. He's pulled out of the Pro-Am. He's not playing in the Pro-Am. So yeah, I mean, read into that what you will, but he didn't play in the Pro-Am at the Tournament of the Champions, did he? Either. So
no.
Read into that what you will. Yeah, I personally, I'm, I'll make it no secret. I don't like these next 3 events. In fact, I hate them. So
yeah, course rotation season is upon us. Having said that, there are some players who do like it and stuff. So, who's your favourite in the 10k range anyway? Obviously not Xander.
No, not Xander. I mean, if you look at my model, Scotty Scheffler would be the one. He's actually 3rd within my model this week, Scotty Scheffler. He comes in at nice ownership as well. He's looking at ownership at 14.13% at the minute compared to Rahm. I do like Rahm as well. I've got a funny feeling that Rahm could just go out there and dismantle this golf course. And I mean, he's so hot at the minute. But yeah, I do. I would probably take the discount on Scheffler there. He's obviously 2020. He's played here 3 times before. In 2020, he finished 3rd, missed the cut in 2021, and then he was 25th last year. And this is kind of where he started heating up last year. So yeah, I like Scheffler there. He's, as I say, 3rd within my model, 7th at the Tournament of Champions. He's played this year already. Interesting stat, Mark, by the way. 11 of the previous 12 winners here have played in Hawaii.
Okay.
So I just thought I'd let everyone know that little stat. So yeah, I think Scheffler will be my favourite play up the top there out of the lot due to the ownership.
There's no real bad play up here. Forgetting Xander, which I think is just a risk. If he's fully fit, he's not a bad play. He's a good play, but everything else, there's no real bad plays up here for me. Probably Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah, fantastic course history.
Yeah, and he does like rotational courses.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm not sure how much I trust in that stat though, because what does he like? What does it like about rotational course? I don't know. It's like, yeah, it feels to me like maybe a false stat. I don't know. But anyway,
Speaking of players that love the pro-am, he'll love it because he's slow as hell.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's another one of those who likes it. That's all I know. So yeah, I don't think there's any bad way. I think it's quite hard to get 2 of these in. It's almost
Yeah, I
impossible to get 2
tried.
of these
I
players
tried
in.
it earlier. I tried to
It's
build.
just not realistic, is it?
No, you can't do it. Well, you
No.
can do it, but then you end up down in the 6-1s, and yeah.
Yeah. But if you're playing multiple lineups, I would definitely be splitting them, having all of them in there. I might even put one Xander line in if I was playing 20, just in case, just because of ownership.
Let's do a quick little game before we move on to the 9s between me and you then. So rank them in the order that you have them. So I mean, we got there 5. You rank them from, so number 1 obviously is your best one.
Cantley for me. Yeah, right. So it's Cantley, Scotty, Scheffler, John Rahm, Tony Finau, and then Xander.
I'm probably Rahm, Cantley, Scheffler, Finau, and then Schauffele. I can't play. Obviously, I can't play Schauffele, but I know I've said that I like Scheffler out of the whole lot, but that's just a DFS reason and ownership. Yeah. But yeah, I've got a funny feeling that John Rahm's come back here to prove a point.
I'm surprised the predicted ownership for Rahm is so high when he's the most expensive, because often people don't play the most expensive. They try and go to the bottom of these ranges like a Cantlay or a Xander, because of how the lineups end up looking. So it'll be interesting to see if he really comes in that highly owned. But if he is that highly owned, then definitely, obviously, the others take a bit of a hit, like you say, Scotty. Cool. Anyway, you can look at only go for one of them, which means in the 9s, which aren't many players this week in the 9s, there's lots of pretty decent options here. Sung Jae, Willie Z, Tom Kim, Sam Burns, Brian Harmon, Si Woo Kim, Cam Young is back, and Aaron Wise as well. So, who interests you here, Jack?
Well, I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 of these guys in my top 10 of my model. Are we similar with that?
No. Have I? No, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4.
So yeah. Will Zalatoris is actually number 1 within my model, and I didn't actually state it. I know I've been stating it every week, but we might have new listeners. My model's based over 32 rounds. It's working at the minute, and I'm just sticking with it. It's been working for a while as well. So, but yeah, Zalatoris is number 1 within my model this week. 11th for the Tournament of the Champions. He didn't look like he had any lingering injury issues. I think the 11th was good. He hadn't played competitive golf for 100 days. And you know me, Mark. I'm not someone that sort of gravitates towards Zalatoris either, because I think the ownership goes wild on him. And it's at 18.36%. I've got him the highest ownership within this range at the minute. But that might be chalk. I say sometimes you need to eat chalk, good chalk, and that might be chalk I eat this week with Zalatoris at the top there.
I also think if people keep talking about he's going to be the chalk, then people will come off of him, and then he won't be the chalk anymore, and he could end up a little bit lower than that. So, he's one of my top 10 as well.
Yeah, and he was 6th here last year on debut.
Yeah. So, Tom Kim, you already mentioned you're going to go back to him again.
Yep.
He doesn't become a bad player overnight, does he? So,
Tom Kim's number 2 within my model. Again, it's over the last 32 rounds, so he's going to pop within that sort of metric anyway. Has only played this golf course once, I believe. Yes, he has only played it once, which was in 2021. He missed the cut then, but he's a far better golfer than what he was in 2021 now.
Yeah.
And the ownership has already taken a dip here. I mean, I've got him currently the 3rd projected highest in this 9K range at the minute. He's 2nd highest at the minute, but the ownership's down to 13.93%. I mean, he was 30% owned last week, which is just wild. I know he missed the cut at Sony. I think that cut was an easy miss. Looking back at it now, it was an easy miss for him. Especially when you can't get anything going with the putter, you know you're going to miss cuts. Putting's a weird stat, and we know it can change. You know, the flip of a coin. We know that stat can change. He's driving.
He lost 6.69 strokes putting last week in 2 rounds, which is mad.
Yes, it is bad. It is
mad.
bad. But what I do like is the driving accuracy. Tom Kim is a very, very accurate driver, and I think if he's very accurate around here, I think he could tear the golf course apart. And people get funny and weird within DFS circles. They get burned by a player the previous week. Oh, I'm never going back to him again. Like he's cost me all this money. Blah 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 blah. It's a bad narrative to have. You shouldn't do it. Tom Kim's a very good golfer. I'm going to go back.
Yeah, and I think people should, especially that ownership. That's there's no player who deserves to be 30% owned 1 week who then deserves to be 14% owned the next week. There's just
I just love Korean golfers at the minute as well.
That's too reactionary. Yeah, you have got a thing at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah.
The 9K range has my number 1 golfer on my model. Doesn't mean he's going to be highest owned, but that's Brian Harman. Again, he was number 1 in my model last week. He disappointed in the end. He looked like he was going to do a lot better. He only actually lost strokes on approach last week, which is slightly out of whack for him. But he's got a decent history here. 3rd, 8th, 21st, last 3 times he was here. And he's just one of those sort of cut maker players, I think. And although again, not so relevant here with a 54-hole cut. But yeah, he's there. The other players who are in there, I don't want to talk too much about them. As Sung Jae's still in there, even though Sung Jae absolutely looked awful last week.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Absolutely terrible. He's got a good course history.
He's a plodder.
Yes.
No, he did. He looked bad last week. I mean, he was 13th at the Tournament of Champions. He's got, like you say, he has got good course history here. I'd put this on par with the Tournament of Champions when it gets to stupid high scoring at 25 under to 30 under. I don't think he can win when it gets to that sort of scoring.
Yeah, he's a tricky one, isn't he? He's as yeah. But yeah,
I never get him right. I never ever get him right. If I play him, he misses the cut, and if I don't play him, he goes and gets the top 5.
Also, he's the sort of player who will get a top 5 suddenly out of nowhere as well.
Yeah,
and which is frustrating for us. Anybody else you like here?
I like Brian Harman's 4th within my model. Like you say, good course history. I don't mind going there. Sung Jae is actually 8th within my model. But
yeah, he's 8th in 9 as well. But
I've just got a big X going for him at the minute. I'm not going to touch him. Cameron Young's 9th within my model, but this is the first time we will see him this year. We haven't seen him since the full swing. But his ownership at the minute is it's wild. 25.69% at the minute. That's the highest owned player projected ownership wise at the minute, Mark. I get it. I get it. You're getting the discount. And you've got Siwoo Kim above him, who's $100 more. Don't quite agree with that pricing, to be honest. I think Cameron Young's a much better golfer than Siwoo Kim, but I think I'd probably just pay up and go to Siwoo Kim, who's at 6.15%. And why can't he win again? He's got good track history around. He was 3rd here last. That's Brian Harman. Sorry, he's got good track history around. He was 11th last year. He won it the year before, so we know Siwoo Kim likes this place. And if he's going to be lower owned, we saw it last year. How many times last year did we see golfers just go back to back and win tournaments?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we kept saying it's not going to happen again.
Yeah,
and then it did.
Yeah, exactly.
The 9K range is definitely interesting. Probably my favourite range of the lot.
I have no interest in Sam Burns, by the way.
I can try to see. He's not on my front page in my model. So,
no.
What's his projected ownership going to be, though?
I'll get his ownership.
He was
10.86.
Okay,
I'd rather
fine. So he's
I'd
cheap.
rather play Siwoo Kim.
Yeah, he's projected to be even lesser than that. Wow.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the 8? Start with my current favourite player, Taylor Montgomery, and then we've got Cam Davis. Actually, there's lots of players I like this range now. I've realised maybe this is my favourite range. Cam Davis, Putnam, Thigala, Hoagie, KH Lee, Hadwin comes back, Clark, JP, Boston, and Taylor Pendrith. Who's sticking out for you here, Jack?
It's Putnam.
Mm,
Fourth last week. I like what he done last
Yeah.
week at the Sony Open.
mm,
Never missed a cut here.
yeah.
Granted, the best finish has been 10th over that time, but he's never missed a cut. I think he offers a very safe floor. And the fourth last week, again, he's a golfer who could probably go around here and win. He doesn't. Within my model, he's sitting 15th at the minute. I need to probably dive into that a bit deeper. I mean, 15th's not bad within the model. He's losing. There we go. He's losing strokes on the proximity range from 100 to 125. That might concern me. I might have to dig deeper into that before I go into it a little bit more. But that might concern me because I think there's going to be a lot of golf shots coming from that range, and if he's losing shots there, that's not good. But I was impressed with what I saw last week from him. I would need to dive into the stats from last week a little bit more. But he's probably my favourite golfer. Well, I need to dig into it more, like I said now. But he was my core play along with Zalatoris up top.
Yeah, he's third in my model, so the highest in the 8s range. He's super safe. I think he'd probably be a really good play on like the season long or something like that because he just seems to make cuts. His putting is on fire, and this is allegedly a putting contest. And even if it's not a putting contest, all the courses where it is, La Quinta for sure, you just need to putt. So I like that.
And all the ownership in this range is going to Hoagie.
Yeah.
So you get a discount on ownership if you go to Putnam.
Yeah, exactly. I just saw the ownership, projected ownership for him for Putnam, and I was like, wow, only 10%. I thought that's fantastic. So yeah, the Hoagie is actually the next one in my model, and then KH Lee after that. What about you, Jack? Who else have you got?
I've got KH Lee within this range. That's about it, kind of thing. Within my top 20 at the minute, I don't.
Yeah, you can build some really great lineups, low-owned lineups with really good players starting in this range.
I do have Adam
we'll
Hadwin as well. Adam Hadwin's 18th within my model.
I've got him as well, but because he's just
again
seen him
course
yet.
history, good course history, but we haven't seen him. So
we haven't seen him. So
it's going to be hard. I do worry with KH Lee. I'm wondering whether he's getting a bit of early season burnout already. I was worried with the weekend at Sony with how he finished. So
his putting isn't best.
Again, I need to dive into it more.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the 7s. There's lots of these. I'm really not going to name them all. So who's sticking out here for you, Jack?
Sorry, I'm just trying to. I like Jason Day at 7,900. He ranks. Where is he in my model? He's 6th in my model.
Yeah,
for this
he's
golf
in mine as well. He's 6th in mine.
I don't like it when we agree.
No, that means he's missing the cut.
He's only played round here once, and he was 49th last year. We haven't seen him since the full swing, and the last time we saw him, he missed the cut. But before that, he seemed to be getting something going again. He was 16th at Houston, 21st at Mayakoba, 11th at the CJ Cup there. So he seems to be finding something again. Anything with Day, I would worry if he could win at high scoring now, like 25 to 30 under. But I don't mind. I do not mind Jason Day in that range. Yourself?
Thomas Detry interests me a little bit. I don't know what his this isn't on a mod. This isn't a model thing. It's more because he's a really good putter. I haven't actually seen what his ownership's going to be. I like these players because generally, because they don't play on the PGA Tour all the time, they usually get lower ownership.
Yep.
So I do like him, and that's more of a that's a sort of a a DFS play, a little bit like you and Scheffler.
Yeah.
Rather than anything else. But yeah, so I do
I
like
like
him.
David Lipsky down there at 7,300, 14th here last year, 4th last week at the Sony Open. He actually ranks 21st within my model this week, so he seems to be finding a little bit of form again, Mr. Lipsky. So again, he makes up my core three down there,
Okay.
and my core three it allows you to do a lot.
So yeah, I haven't got masses of interest in this range, to be honest with you.
He's no ownership as well, Lipsky. Lipsky's like projected like 3% ownership at the minute.
Yeah, I'm tempted to play Will Gordon again.
Yeah,
it's just a boring safe play. Yeah, but I can't even find him in my model at the moment, so I'm not sure.
there's a few here, isn't it? Denny McCarthy's another one. There's a few within the range.
The other thing is, it's a bit. You have to be. You don't want to be as safe as just looking at cup makers in this, because they're all playing 3 rounds. So
exactly.
when we talk, So, for example, I might as well just talk about this quickly in the 6-6-9. Kevin Yu, for example, 6-9, he outscored his fantasy position last week. As in, I think he came 21st or something, but he was 12th in fantasy scoring. And so those are sort of players which you need to think about or try and at least, if you're doing a model, I mean, I've used fantasy points as well. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning in there as well again. So yeah, it's something to bear in mind with 3-round cut, and that's what puts me off players a little bit like Will Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming down to like, I don't think I'd play Will Gordon. I think I'd prefer to play like a Munoz or someone like that who's offers a lot high upside, and I know he could win as well. Munoz, that's the type of play you get with Munoz. So, yeah, that's what I would rather do.
Yeah,
personally,
we just haven't seen him for a bit, have we?
Apparently, Wigan just conceded. Hope you're nice and cold, Nick.
He should have stayed with us, shouldn't he? Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Okay. Sixes. Anybody interest you there at all?
There was a couple actually. I've now just got to go through my model again. Sam Ryder, again, another one who's never missed a cut here. He offers a bit of a safe. I know. We were just saying you don't want all these players with safe floors and things, but when you're coming down into this range, you probably, if you took a risk up top, you just probably want a golfer that's going to make the cut. And Sam Ryder probably offers you that. He's never missed a cut here before. When you're coming down to this range as well, none of these players are really going to pop in your model. If they are, I think you're probably doing something wrong within your model. But, yeah, I don't mind Sam Ryder down here, who's again never missed a cut. Ryan Moore's actually doing okay.
He's in my model, doing all right. Yeah, me too.
Okay.
He's asked me.
He's done. He's missed a cut last week. Missed the last 2 cuts here. Yeah, I'm not going there. I don't. That's one that I would ignore the model on.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. Last week, everybody was talking about David Lingmer as a play. And obviously he missed a cut. So, there are always gambles with these prices and stuff. He was good enough for people to be taking him last week. He can't be too awful for this week.
No.
But again, you're taking look at that. He's got a 10th, an 8th, and 11th all cuts. So maybe that's the sort of player you want to have in this format.
Yeah, maybe again, if you're going to come down to the 6,000 range, then you probably just want someone who will make the cut. I mean, Andrew Landry is another one there. He missed the cut here last year, but before that, 64th. Before that, in 2020, he won it. 2019, he come 28th, and in 2018, he comes second. So he's got a good course history around. I think if you're coming down to that 6K range and you just need someone, I think you look for the course history a little bit more there, and you look for someone that's safe, as we've said. So they're a couple.
They're not going to be in good form. They're not going to be in good form, these players down here, because that's why they're that price.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's build a couple of lineups. Shall we start with picking a high-priced player, one of the 10Ks?
Let's go for it.
Let's go with Scheffler because he seems the best DFS play. And we're averaging 7.9. So we've got to go below 7.
Let's get down into the low 7s. Let's go for a.
We've got.
We could play Luke List, Nick's favourite. I've actually had a bet on Luke List this week.
Have you?
Yeah. Benny Ann down there at 7-1. Didn't really talk about him, but
no,
I think he's a good player. Mind you, he has Ben Ann has basically turned into Siwoo Kim. He is like he'll do really well one week and then just miss the cut the next. He's literally Siwoo Kim.
Let's put him in anyway. He fits the price profile. Let's see, we've got 8-1. So
let's go back up. Put Day in.
Yeah, Jason Day, put him in. Then we're up to 8-1-6. We've still got to be around this like a Denny McCarthy we talked about. Do you like him this week?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Too safe.
Yeah, I think we've already got the safe player now in Day, so I don't particularly want to do that. Maybe we come down again and get let's put a Lipsky in. 7-3.
7-3. There you go. There's Lipsky.
I like Lipsky.
All the way to 86 now.
Yeah, that gets us up a bit.
So we can definitely get a Putnam in there if we want.
Yeah, let's stick Putnam in, and then
we all like him.
Should we eat the chalk and hoagie?
I think we have to, really, don't you?
Yeah.
So you go. That's a pretty, very cheapest. That's a pretty decent lineup. Should we try and build? Should we start one off in the? Do you prefer the 8s or the 9s to start off in? Try and build slightly more balanced.
Let's try and do a Zalatoris one.
Yeah. Okay.
9-6. And
I'll put Taylor Montgomery in that one.
Yeah, put Taylor Montgomery in that one.
Yeah.
And then come back down to the 7s. Let's get a. Or we could go down to the 6s and get a. Who do I like in the 6?
Sam Ryder.
Yeah, get a Sam Ryder in. Who's just basically, we're hoping that's a safe sort of play there. And then get back into the 8s. I did like Wyndham Clark this week, by the way, as well. I've had a bet on Wyndham Clark as well. We haven't
seen him for a little bit, but we could put him in.
Put him in this lineup then. And then that gets us to 8.
We've been the same place as we before.
Yeah, we're going to end up there quite a bit, actually, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. You could go up now. You could go up to the 9s if you want. Let's put Tom Kim in, see what that does. Takes us down to 7-1.
Yeah, 7-1. We like somebody around there, didn't we?
Yeah, we have Ben Ann.
Ben Ann again. Yeah, it's like we end up with him again.
Well, I don't mind that.
No.
I think you've got 3 very, very good players in there that could win. I think Wyndham Clark has a chance as well. So I don't mind that.
Yeah, that's very bad. So it almost looks cash line-uppy, doesn't it?
Do you want to try and do a sort of like top-heavy one and then...
Well, how would we do it top-heavy, though? We just had 2 and the 9s on that lineup, didn't we?
Yeah, let's try and do a...
Can you put 3 in the 9s?
Should we try and do like an 8K balance build, see what comes out?
Yeah, that's good. Let's start with the 8K. So we definitely like... We all like. You like Putnam, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, Putnam. Let's put Putnam, Montgomery, and I'll stuff it. We'll eat the chalk and hoagie. Just go with hoagie.
Okay. You could have put Clark in there as well for that.
Well, we can stay can still
Yeah.
stay in the eights.
Yeah, we've got to play Boston or Penrith. Oh, I don't think got anywhere on my models. Nope.
No, we
So,
don't.
yeah.
I don't want them. Or we could go up to Cam Young. We haven't tried. Or do we want Siwoo?
I prefer Siwoo myself, but
Right, let's try. Let's put Siwoo in. Let's say it's down
we're
to
back at
7-4.
7-4.
I think
Then
we're going
you
to
can-
end up back in this blood.
You-
Let's put Lipsky in.
Yeah, you got Lipsy again. Then you got Munoz, like, the ones you mentioned.
I
It seems
don't
it ends
mind
up.
Kirk. Kirk played well
Yeah.
last week. Chris Kirk,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was,
stick him
talk
in.
about
I think
him,
I like that build. I think that's a proper balanced build. That is.
Yeah, the funnily enough, I think the riskiest play there is Siwoo because he's won.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there you go. Be interesting to see how our lineups end up. I'll stop sharing that now. Is it? Cool. Great. So I think that's it. Can't think of anything else we have to say. We've done all our admin, haven't we, Jack? So, like, hopefully Nick will be back to keep us in control next week.
Yeah, I will have the Putting for Dough newsletter out tomorrow for everyone. It will drop in your email boxes, completely free to sign up. So head over to Putting for Dough Show, and the link's in the description up there.
Cool. So I've got to try and sign off with the same class and panache that Nick does every week. So it's drivers for show, putters for dough.
See you next week.